The wind howled through the frozen cliffs of Triax 9, a planet forgotten by most of the galaxy. Snowflakes, sharp as tiny knives, fell from a sky that never showed the sun. On a narrow ledge between two giant ice walls, a small figure wrapped herself in rags, holding something close to her chest. It was a furry creature, no bigger than a pillow, shivering in her arms. Her name was Yara. She was not human. Her skin was pale blue, with soft ridges on her forehead. She had been hiding for days alone, hungry and scared. Her ship had crashed. During an ambush, the others were gone. Only she and her pet, Lumo, had survived. Yara hugged Lumo tightly. She whispered, "We'll sleep soon. Maybe we won't feel the cold anymore." Her voice was thin, tired. She was ready to close. Her eyes forever. She had no food, no signal, and the cold had started to bite her fingers. But just as she closed her eyes, she heard something, a low, deep sound like metal groaning. Her eyes snapped open. She thought she imagined it. Then she heard it again. Rurich, something was moving. Not the wind, not the storm. Something alive. Something heavy. Yara sat up, shielding Lumo inside her jacket. She crawled to the edge of the cliff and looked down. Through the falling snow, a strange light appeared. It blinked, then turned steady. A figure stepped into view, tall, covered in thick black armor, glowing visor, broad shoulders, metal on his back. He moved with power, but calmness too. Not alien. Not from her planet. A human. Yara froze. Humans didn't come to Triax 9. The planet was too cold, too wild. And humans didn't help people like her. They ruled the central systems. They had machines, armies and big ships. Why would a human come here? The figure looked up, straight at her. "I see you," the voice came from below, deep and clear. Yara crawled back in fear. Her heart beat faster. She had no weapon. She was weak. She didn't know if he was a hunter or a rescuer. Lumo whimpered. Yara held him closer. Footsteps came closer, slow, heavy. The snow crunched under metal boots. "Don't be afraid," the voice said again. "I'm not here to hurt you." Then, silence. Yara peeked over the ledge again. The human was standing still, arms by his side. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice shaking. "Call me Rail," he said. "I'm human. I was passing nearby when I picked up your crash signal." "You got the signal?" She was shocked. Her beacon had broken. She hadn't used it in days. "Your ship's wreck still sends echoes." "Weak, but I found it. Why would a human help me?" Rail didn't answer for a moment. Then he said, "You're alive. That's reason enough." Yara didn't move. Rail reached into a bag and pulled out a small metal sphere. He placed it on the ground. A heat field spread from it. Warm air pushed the snow away. Yara's single quote's eyes widened. Lumo perked up. "This can keep you from freezing." "I'm not your enemy," Rail said. "But if you wait much longer, you won't survive the night." Her arms trembled. She looked at Lumo. His eyes were barely open. With weak legs, she crawled to the edge. "Can I trust you?" Rail looked up again. "You already are. You're talking to me." She hesitated, then let out a shaky breath. "I'm coming down," she said. Yara slowly climbed down the icy slope, holding Lumo close to her chest. Her legs were weak, her fingers numb. Every step felt like walking through thick clouds. Her eyes stayed locked on the human, Rail, who stood like a stone in the snow, unmoving. But not threatening. As she reached the bottom, the heat from the small metal sphere touched her skin like a miracle. It didn't burn, wrapped around her like an invisible blanket. Her body shivered, not from cold now, but from sudden relief. She fell to her knees beside the sphere. Rail stepped back to give her space. "Sit. Let the warmth do its work." She looked up at him. The helmet on his head had a glowing blue visor. She couldn't see his face, not even his eyes. But his voice was calm, his movements gentle. Lumo mewed softly. He was starting to relax. He needs food, Yara said. Rail reached into a side pouch and tossed a wrapped cube toward her. It was small, brown, and gave off a strange smell. Protein bar. Not much, but it'll help. Yara broke a piece and fed it to Lumo, who began nibbling it quickly. She ate a small piece too. Her stomach twisted as warmth and food mixed inside her for the first time in days. "Thank you," she whispered, still unsure if this was a trick. Rail crouched beside her. His armor creaked a little. "You're lucky I came when I did." "No," Yara said. "I wasn't lucky. I was just waiting to die." Rail didn't reply. Snowflakes still fell, but now they melted before touching the warm circle around them. "Why are you really here?" Yara asked. "Humans don't visit Triax 9, Rail paused. "That's true. This planet's off route. Dangerous. Nothing to gain here." "Then why?" Rail finally sat on a flat rock. "Sometimes helping someone is gain enough." Yara stared at him, suspicious. "Are you from the Federation?" Rail shook his head. "No flags, no orders. Just me and my ship." "Then you're a wanderer?" "You could say that." Yara leaned against a chunk of ice. "The last human I saw burned my brother's village." Rail turned his head. "That wasn't me. You all wear metal, carry weapons, walk like you own the stars." Rail's hand moved to his helmet. Then he slowly took it off. Underneath, his face was rough, marked with small scars, but his eyes, they were soft. "Human, yes, but not cruel." "Do I look like I own the stars?" he asked. Yara looked away. Rail's voice lowered. "You don't have to trust me. Just stay alive." A silence grew between them. The snow outside their heat field kept falling. A storm was forming in the distance. Dark clouds circled like beasts. "We can't stay here," Rail said. "There's a cave half a kilometer north. I passed it earlier. I can't walk that far," Yara said. "Not tonight." Rail looked at her, then at the small creature in her arms. "Then I'll carry you." Yara's eyes widened. "What? You weigh less than my gear. And I'm not leaving you to freeze." Before she could argue, Rail stood, lifted her gently, with Lumo wrapped in her arms, and placed her across his back. She was too tired to protest. "Why are you doing this?" she asked as he started walking through the snow. Rail didn't stop. "Because someone once saved me when I was about to give up. Maybe now it's my turn." His boots crushed ice beneath them. The wind howled louder. Behind them, the warmth sphere blinked and turned off. The cold chased them again, but this time, Yara wasn't alone. Rail's breath came out in white clouds as he moved through the snowstorm, Yara on his back and Lumo tucked between them. The cold bit at his cheeks, but he kept walking. His armor was strong, but the wind was stronger. Still, he pushed forward, one heavy step after another, heading toward the black shadow he remembered. The cave. Yara single quotes. S arms were around his shoulders. She was too weak to speak now. Her head rested near his neck. Her eyes half closed, but she was alive. And that was something. When they reached the edge of the cliff, Rail stopped and looked down. The cave opened like a mouth in the rock, hidden beneath layers of frozen mist. With careful steps, he slid down the icy slope and reached the opening. Once inside, the wind disappeared. Silence returned. He placed Yara gently on a flat stone. The cave was deep, dark, but dry. He pulled out another small sphere from his bag and pressed a button. Soft yellow light filled the cave and warm air spread again. Yara slowly opened her eyes. "We're inside," Rail said. "You're safe." She nodded slowly, her lips dry. "Thank you, again." Lumo crawled out of her arms and curled beside the warm light. Rail sat down across from her and took out a small metal stick. He touched a button, and the stick became a fire rod. Real flame danced in the cave, crackling softly. Yara stared at. It hypnotized. I haven't seen real fire since. Before the war. Rael looked at her. You were in the war? Everyone on my planet was, even children. We didn't have a choice. Rael nodded. Same on mine. She looked surprised. Humans fight each other? More than you'd believe. They sat in silence, the fire casting soft shadows on the walls. Why do you help people? Yara asked suddenly. Rael didn't answer right away. He looked into the flame. Years ago, I was like you. Lost, alone. I crashed on a desert moon. My crew died. I thought I would die too, but someone saved you. Yara asked. Yes, he said. An alien, not from any powerful world, just a small trader. He had one eye and a broken ship, but he shared his food. His warmth, his kindness. Why? I asked him that, Rael said with a faint smile. He said, because someone helped me once. I'm just passing it forward. Yara was quiet for a moment. You think kindness moves through space like that? Rael looked at her. Maybe it's the only thing that does. Outside the cave, the wind screamed louder. Snow slammed against the walls. But inside, they were still. Rael leaned back. Will, stay here tonight. In the morning, I'll take you to my ship. It's parked in the valley. We'll be safe there. Yara nodded slowly, but something in her face changed. What is it? Rael asked. They might come looking. Who? The ones who shot down my ship, she whispered. They weren't just pirates. They were hunters. Rael frowned. Hunting what? Me. And anyone who escaped the mines. Rael sat up straighter. You were in the mines? Yara nodded. They used my people to dig rare crystals. Our planet was rich, but we never saw the wealth. We only saw chains. Rael's eyes darkened. Did the Federation allow it? They turned their heads, said it wasn't their fight. Rael stood. Then it's mine now. Yara stared at him, confused. Why do you care so much? You don't even know me. Rael's voice was quiet, but firm. I don't need to know you to see what's right, and I know what it feels like to be hunted. Suddenly, a sharp sound echoed outside. The cave. Ping. Both of them froze. Rael grabbed his blaster. Stay here, he said quickly, eyes scanning the entrance to Yara grabbed Lumo and pulled him close. Rael moved toward the cave's mouth. He crouched behind a rock, heart steady. Another sound. Crunch. Crunch, footsteps. Not human. Alone. They had been found. Rael crouched low at the edge of the cave, blaster in hand. The snow outside was no longer soft, it was heavy and violent. Wind howled like angry spirits. But in between the gusts, he heard it clearly. Footsteps. Not rushed. Not careless. Whoever was out there knew how to hunt. Rael narrowed his eyes. His visor was off, so he used his ears. He counted 1, 2, maybe 3 different steps. Heavy, crunching through deep snow. Not animals, not soldiers. Bounty hunters. Inside the cave, Yara held Lumo close to her chest. She didn't breathe. Loud, didn't move. Her eyes were locked on Rael, trusting him now, but full of fear. She had felt this before. The silence before an attack. Rael slowly slid back into the cave and whispered, "We have to move." Yara looked shocked. "But we just got here, we're weak. If we stay, we're trapped." Caves echo footsteps. "They'll know exactly where we are," she nodded, biting her lip. "What if they have heat sensors?" Rael smirked slightly. "I turned on the decoy beacon 2 minutes ago. They'll chase a ghost trail downhill for at least 20 minutes. You're clever," she said softly. Double quotes, "No, just experienced." Rael helped Yara stand. She stumbled, but he caught her again. He wrapped one of his thermal belts around her waist and picked up Lumo. "You hold the creature. I'll hold the light." They moved through the narrow back path of the cave. Rael knew it had to go somewhere. Caves always had another exit if you followed the air dot behind them. They heard a voice echo through the entrance. "She's here." Another voice followed, sharper. "We only need the girl. Shoot the rest." Yara gasped quietly. Rail didn't. "Stop moving. Keep going," he said. The tunnel curved left, then right. Then they found stone steps carved by nature or ancient miners. They couldn't tell. But it led upward. "Who are these people?" Rail asked as they climbed. "They work for the Black Sun trade ring. They sell people like me. One of them, his name is Daxi. He used to beat us with metal rods, for fun." Rail didn't speak. His jaw tightened. He hated slavers more than anything. Suddenly, a bright light flashed behind them. There! A red laser shot past them, striking the cave wall. Rock exploded. Dust filled the air. "Run!" Rail shouted, grabbing Yara's hand. They raced up the steps. Another blast came, hitting the wall beside them. The heat brushed Yara's arm. She winced but didn't stop. They reached the top, an opening. A narrow slit leading to the CLIFFS IDE. Outside was dangerous. But inside was death. Rail pushed her through first, then crawled behind her. They were outside again. Wind screamed louder than before. But ahead down the rocky slope, Rail saw something shining. His ship, half covered in ice. But there. "Come on!" he yelled over the storm. Blaster shots rang behind them. Hunters were climbing out of the cave. Rail fired back. 3 quick bursts. One hunter fell screaming. The others ducked behind cover. They slid down the slope. Yara lost her footing, but Rail caught her mid-fall. Lumo was still clutched to her chest, shaking but alive. They reached the ship. Rail slammed the hatch open and shoved her inside. "Hold on to something." He jumped into the cockpit, fingers flying across buttons. Engines groaned. Blue lights lit the frozen air. The ship shook. Outside, the hunters reached the slope, but it was too late. Rail pulled the thrusters. The ship roared into the air. Blaster. Shots fired wildly, but none hit. The snowstorm swallowed the figures below. Inside the ship, warm air blew through the vents. Yara collapsed on the metal floor, shaking. Rail turned to her. "We made it." Yara looked up at him, eyes full of emotion. "I don't understand. You fought for me, risked your life." Rail crouched beside her. No one should be hunted for being free. Lumo crawled into Rail's lap, purring. Wyatt smiled for the first time in days. But then Rail's scanner beeped. His face grew serious. "What is it?" Yara asked. He pointed at the screen. A large red ship had entered the planet's orbit. "They called for backup," Rail said. "How big?" Rail looked at her. "Big enough to bring an army." Rail stared at the scanner. The red blip grew larger with every second. It was a dread ship 20 times bigger than his small transport, built for war. "Built to destroy. Yara leaned against the cockpit wall, still shaking. "Can we escape?" Rail's fingers tapped the console. "Not yet. The storm's too strong in the upper atmosphere. If we try to leave now, the ship will break apart. Then what do we do?" Rail turned toward her. "We hide and wait for the right moment." He pulled a lever. The ship's lights dimmed. Engines powered down. The heat stayed, but everything else went silent. Outside, snow still raged. The hunters wouldn't see them right away, but they would search. And eventually, they would find them. Rail stood and moved to the storage panel. He opened it, revealing a set of survival gear, weapons, and a small comms unit. He pulled out a long rifle, checked the charge, and handed it to Yara. "I've never used one," she whispered. "You won't have to," he said. "Not unless they get close." She held the weapon with trembling hands. Rail knelt beside her. "You're strong, Yara. Stronger than you know." "I don't feel strong." "You survived the mines. You protected Lumo. You walked through the storm when others would have given up. That's strength. Her eyes filled with tears. She didn't speak. I'll go outside, Rail said. Set traps. Slow them down. No. She grabbed his arm. Don't leave me. I'll be close, I promise. Rail opened the hatch and stepped into the blizzard. Wind pushed against him, but he moved fast, planting signal jammers, sensor traps, and energy spikes that would confuse scanners. If the dredge ship sent drones or troops, they'd walk into chaos. Inside, Yara wrapped Lumo in a blanket and rocked gently back and forth. Her thoughts returned to her family, her mother's last smile, her brother's laughter, all taken by men like the ones now hunting them. She gripped the rifle tighter. Minutes passed like hours. Rail returned. Snow stuck to his armor. They're landing, he said. 3 drop pods, Southridge. How long do we have? 15 minutes. Maybe less. Yara stood. Then we fight. Rail looked at her. You sure? She nodded. No more running. Rail gave a short nod, proud. Handed her a small earpiece. Stay in touch. We split up. You cover the east slope. I'll handle the front. Yara moved to the back hatch and climbed onto the icy ridge. Snow stung her cheeks, but her eyes were sharp now. No longer weak. No longer afraid. Rail took position behind a large snow-covered rock. He could see the first pod landing metal. Claws digging into the ice. Figures stepped out, armored, armed, cold-hearted. They scanned the area. Rail whispered into the mic. On my mark. Yara's voice crackled back. Ready. The hunters moved closer. 5 of them. Big rifles. Glowing eyes behind masks. Rail waited. Then boom. A mine exploded near the lead hunter, sending him flying. Rail fired. 1 shot, direct hit. The second hunter dropped. The others scattered. Yara saw 2 figures moving toward her. She held her breath, aimed and fired. ZZT. Missed the first, but scared him. The second one spotted her. He raised his gun. She ducked behind a rock. Heart pounding. Then suddenly, a shadow appeared beside the hunter. Rail. He struck fast metal fist to the face. The hunter dropped like a stone. Ra peeked over her rock. You said we'd split up. She whispered. Rail smirked. I lead. More drop pods landed in the distance. We can't hold them all, Yara said. Rail grabbed her hand. We don't need to. We just need a way out. His cums beeped. A faint voice came through static, broken, but real. Vessel detected. Is anyone alive? Rail's eyes lit up. Friendly ship. Probably a trader passing by. He responded quickly. Coordinates sent. Need pickup in 3 minutes. A New Hope. But the dredge ship above began to move. Large cannons aimed at the valley. Rail, single quotes, S scanner screamed. They're going to fire. On what? Yara asked. Rail looked up. On everything. The dredge ship above them moved like a mountain in the sky. Its belly opened, showing a long glowing cannon. Energy built up inside it, bright red, humming louder by the second. The kind of weapon used to erase cities, not small rescue ships, Rail's. Eyes scanned the clouds. If that beam fires, it will melt the whole ridge. Snow, ice, rocks, everything. And us, Yara whispered. Rail grabbed her hand. No time to hide. We have to run now. Together, they sprinted down the slope, sliding on ice, dodging behind rocks. Snow exploded around them from enemy shots. The hunters had spotted them again. Lasers flew past their heads. Rail fired behind him, hitting one of the pursuers. Another screamed as one of his traps triggered and exploded. The sound in the air grew deeper. The cannon was almost ready. Then, through the storm clouds, a bright light broke through. Yara looked up. A ship. Small. Fast. Silver and blue. The traitor. Rail shouted into his cums. We're on the move. Open your doors. The traitors. Ship dove low, engines howling against the storm. Its ramp opened mid-air. Hovering just above the ground. Rail pushed Yara forward. Jump! She leapt and barely caught the edge. Two hands pulled her and Rail ran faster. The light above flashed. Once the cannon was about to fire. Jump, Rail! Yara screamed. Rail jumped. His body flew through the air, snow and smoke behind him. Hands reached out, he grabbed them. The traitor ship pulled up hard. The dread ship's cannon fired. A red beam shot down like a blade of fire. It hit the ground. Where they had just stood. The entire ridge exploded. Ice turned to steam, rocks melted. Snow vanished. The traitor ship shook violently, but stayed in the air. Inside, Yara clutched Lumo, shaking, tears falling from her eyes. Rail lay on the floor, breathing hard. You okay? He asked. She nodded. You? Barely, he smiled. They looked up. The traitor stood beside them, a tall woman with dark skin and a cybernetic arm. You two really know how to attract attention, she said. Rail laughed. Just another day you owe me, she said. Walking back to the cockpit. Rail sat up and looked at Yara. We're alive. But they're still up there, Yara said, looking through the window. Yes, Rail replied. But we're not done yet. The traitor's ship climbed higher, weaving through the clouds, avoiding fire from the dread ship. Its shields shook. Alarms blared. Rail moved to the gunner seat. If they want to play, let's play. He grabbed the controls and aimed the turret. 1, 2, 3 blasts. He struck a weak spot on the dread ship's right wing. Small fire broke out on the enemy's surface. It wasn't much, but it was enough to distract them. The traitor's ship flew past the giant warship, dodging missiles, slipping through its defenses. Suddenly, a message appeared on the screen. We see you. We know who she is. You cannot hide. Yara stared at the words. They'll never stop, she whispered. Rail turned to her. Then we stop running. He looked at the traitor. Get us to orbit. Then point this ship toward a place they'll never expect. Where? She asked. Rail smiled. The last place they want to go, which is the human core zone, Yara gasped. But they'll never follow us there. Exactly, Rail said. And we'll finally be safe. But deep in her heart, Yara knew it wouldn't end so easily, because the last message that came through was just 3 words. She still remembers. The traitor's ship flew fast through the edge of space, engines pushing against gravity's last grip. Inside, Yara sat quietly, holding Lumo. Rail stood near the control panel, watching the stars appear one by one as the ship rose above the clouds. The message still echoed in both their minds. She still remembers. Rail looked at Yara. What do you remember? She didn't speak right away. Her eyes looked far away into memories buried deep. There was something hidden in the mines, she said softly. Something buried beneath the crystals. A door, ancient, glowing. Rail leaned forward. A machine? Older than machines, she whispered. Older than any race we know. Rail felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold. What happened? I touched it, Yara said. Only me. Others tried, but it only responded to my skin. My thoughts, it opened for me. Rail's eyes narrowed. What was inside? Light, not burning, but living, like a voice. It said my name, and then it showed me things. What kind of things? Stars exploding, planets ending, and something worse. Something waking up. Rail sat down slowly. There. Not just hunting you because you escaped the mines. Yara nodded. They're hunting me because of what I carry. What do you mean? She looked him in the eyes when the light touched me. It left something behind. Inside my mind. A key, not to treasure, but to a warning. Rail stood. So if they catch you, they'll find the location of that ancient place. They'll dig deeper. And if they open the wrong part of it, they'll wake up something we can't stop, Rail finished. The traitor walked in, overhearing. Do we destroy it? Yara shook her head. We can't, but we can hide it. And maybe, one day, use it the right way. Rael nodded. Then we protect you, no matter what. The traitor changed course. I know someone in the human core. A scientist. Off-grid. No politics. If anyone can help understand what's inside your mind, it's her. Yara's voice was calm now. I'm not scared anymore. Rael smiled. That's because you're not alone anymore. Suddenly, the ship shook. Lights flickered. What now? Rael shouted. The traitor checked the radar. Small ship on our tail, fast, cloaked, probably a scout from the dread ship. Rael jumped into the gunner's seat again. Not today. The small enemy ship fired a beam that struck the hull, rocking them hard. Alarms blared, but Rael waited. Closer. Closer. He locked on. Double quotes goodbye. He fired. A direct hit. The scout ship exploded into dust and sparks. Silence returned. The stars stretched around them as the traitor's ship entered warp. Inside, Rael returned to Yara. You okay? She smiled gently. Yes, thanks to you. No, Rael said. Thanks to you. You showed me that even in the coldest places, hope still lives. Yara reached out and held his hand. Do you think we'll ever be safe? Rael looked at her. Maybe not, but we'll fight together. The ship sped through the stars. Far behind them, the dread ship searched empty SNOWFI ELDS. Far ahead of them, a future waited, one built not on power, but on kindness, courage, and the bond between two souls who never gave up. And somewhere deep inside Yara's mind, the light still glowed. Waiting. Watching. And whispering, you were chosen for a reason.